Hi there. Welcome to another presentation of the Globe Sound Healing Conference. Now we have Carrie Heumann. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here today.
Welcome.
Thank
Carrie
you.
has a BA in psychology and an MSW. She has experience in social work and motherhood. On a path of personal and spiritual growth with a love for singing and music, Carrie is currently a student at Globe. Her primary instrument is her voice. Welcome,
Hi.
welcome.
Thank you.
What have you been up to lately?
Well, um, I am just a couple of classes away and final exams away from finishing the program. And I'm so excited because I have some visions for myself moving forward. Um, I am working with a mentor, and we have been doing a lot of sound healing meditations together. But moving forward, I just ordered business cards for myself because I'm envisioning what a practice is going to look like moving forward and how I'm going to move forward and help others with my voice.
Nice, nice. Okay, tell us about your present. Oh, no, big question. If you had all the money in the world, what would you do to help people on the planet?
Oh my. So many people need help. I mean, my list could go on forever. I would like to see people, I mean, if I had all the money in the world, I would I would want I would want to cure all the diseases. Um I would want for everybody to get mental health because I think mental health is so great for everyone. I think we could all benefit from some mental health. And our healthcare system is broken. The healthcare system, the mental health care system, I worked in it for 6 years and I've experienced it on the other end, having dealt with my own health issues. I would fix the healthcare system. If I had all the money in the world, that's what I would do.
Nice, nice. Excellent.
Thank
Okay,
you.
tell us about your presentation.
Well, ever since I was a little girl, I used to look outside, I used to walk outside, and I used to look at the trees and the flowers, and I used to say, "Ooh, I wonder if they're talking to each other. I wonder if they can hear me talk and sing. I wonder if they're talking back, and maybe I just can't hear them with my ears." And I would look at the trees, and I used to envision there were 3 trees in the backyard when I was growing up. And I used to look at these 3 trees, and I used to say, one of them looks like the mommy, one looks like the daddy, and one looks like the little child. And it looks like the mommy and daddy are kind of talking to the little child. So I used to feel that trees had personalities. I used to start to wonder that. And I used to wonder as I would, if I saw a circle of trees, if maybe they were, communicating. And now we know underground root systems, and they actually are communicating. But more than that, I just always wondered, are they singing? Are they singing? And can they hear me sing? And so I wanted to do some research on this. So I'm going to be talking about today how the trees and the flowers and the plants, well, they are they are singing, they are talking, and they are hearing us.
Love
So
it. I love it. I
thank
love it.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
So I have a PowerPoint here that I would love
Mhm.
to share.
Okay.
Okay. And here we go. And let me start in the beginning. Okay. So, and I'd like to say that when I go outside and I'm with all of the plants and flowers, it's to me it's a garden chorale. Especially when I walk through a botanical gardens. It's just beautiful. So, sound is everywhere, and everything is made up of frequency and vibration, and we're all connected. Our frequency is our energy, our vibration, and our consciousness. It is what we feel and what we put into the world. Native American shamans believe that everything on earth has a consciousness, including humans, insects, rocks, bees, flowers, and plants. So, if everything has a frequency, and I think those waves can create tones. So as I said, we're all connected. And we see the song, we listen to the song from Pocahontas, and I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. So if we just start listening, maybe we'll hear all of our names, not just ours, but those of our garden friends. So here we are. Can our growing garden friends really hear and make sounds of their own? I say yes. And lucky for me, so do a lot of other researchers. So vibration and sound may be a way for plants and flowers to connect with their surrounding environment, and for humans to connect with them. And research has indicated here that our growing garden friends can hear and emit sounds, possessing their own version of ears and voices. In 1973, Peter Tompkins and Christopher Bird wrote this book here, The Secret Life of Plants. This book discusses the concept of something called the sonic bloom. The sonic bloom, they're frequencies and musical sounds designed to boost plant growth. Now, this book here was the beginning of the speculation into the consciousness of plants and trees. Well, a major beginning. It was written in the 70s. So it documents these controversial, or what people think are controversial, experiments that claim to reveal unusual phenomena with plants. It goes into plant sentience and the ability of plants to communicate with other creatures, including humans. In one study, when plants were exposed to specific sound frequencies, mimicking the morning chorus of bird songs, they were encouraged to open leaf stomata. And the opening of leaf stomata increased the intake of morning dew, gentle fertilizers, sap flow, plant hormones, and nutrient intake. So I have a little video I'm going to play here.
Hi there. I wanted to know if talking to my plants really encouraged them to grow, or if I was just turning into a crazy old lady. To find out, I potted some baby plants and grew them in a controlled environment with the same sun and water every day. These plants listen to beautiful orchestra music. These plants listen to a looped recording of positive encouragement. You can do it, little plants. Grow big and tall. And these little guys were left to grow in peace and quiet. Shh. 2 months went by, and I couldn't believe it. The biggest and tallest plant was the one that listened to music. The next was the one with positive encouragement. But the one with peace and quiet looks pretty sad. I guess I'm not so crazy after all. Bye for now.
Okay, so as we see there, don't leave your plants alone. Play some music for them. So here, we're moving on to this researcher here, Jagadish Chandra Bose. In 1902, he invented and used something called a crescograph, which is a device that measures the growth in plants. It uses a series of clockwork gears and a smoked glass plate to record the movement of the tip of a plant or its roots. Bose used this to determine the variation of the cell membrane potential of plants under different circumstances. He believed that plants can feel pain and understand affection. So here we have Cleve Baxter. He claimed in the 1960s that plants can feel pain and have ESP. And he actually used a lie detector to register responses from plants to direct stimuli. And you know what? The readings that he got resembled those of humans. Baxter believed that human thoughts and emotions caused reactions in plants. Pretty cool, huh? So it is theorized that plants seem to listen to the vibrations of one another. You've got to wonder if plants grow better together or alone. Well, they tend to grow healthier and faster nearer to each other than in isolation. Research suggests that these vibrations let a plant know when it's safe to grow. And also, the vibrations seem to turn genes on and off. And it indicates that plants may be listening to their surroundings to know when to express certain genes. And plant sounds contain information about the plant, such as when it's under stress. So here are just some random facts. And as I said, plants are listening to the vibrations of one another. The different frequencies and intensities that plants hear can express certain genes' expressions. And I think what's really cool is that these vibrations let plants know when it's safe to grow. You know, if they're in an environment that may not be ideal for them, what's neat is that these plants are communicating that it might not be the best environment to open their petals or plants or leaves. Okay, so here we go. There was a 2019 study showed at Tel Aviv University, and it showed that plants respond swiftly to certain airborne sound frequencies, which increase their chances of pollination. The researchers were able to record and analyze ultrasonic sounds emitted by evening primrose flowers. They discovered click-like sounds similar to the popping of popcorn emitted at higher frequencies out of the range of human hearing. These click-like sounds are a result of something called cavitation. Cavitation is a process where air bubbles form, expand, and collapse in the xylem of a plant, causing vibrations. The xylem of a plant is the vascular tissue that conducts water and dissolves nutrients upward from the roots to the leaves to be used in photosynthesis. So it brings up all the water, the nutrients, the minerals from the roots to the rest of the plant to be used. And something called a laser vibrometer was attached to the plants to record the vibrations, which become airborne sound waves. And I have a video here that goes into this a little further.
It seems gardeners who talk to their plants may now actually have even more legitimate reason to do so, as a new study from Tel Aviv University finds that flowers not only hear the buzz of approaching bees, but respond to the sound by producing sweeter nectar. This in turn entices bees to return more often, thereby increasing the chances of that flower's pollen being distributed for reproduction. Now, the Israeli scientists used the Onothero-germundi flowers, known commonly as evening primroses, and exposed them to a playback sound of a flying bee, as well as to synthetic sound signals at similar frequencies. And they found that the flowers produced sweeter nectar within 3 minutes of hearing the sounds. The researchers say that the flowers vibrated mechanically in response to the audio stimuli as well, suggesting that the flower petals acted as a plant's auditory sensory organ. The researchers, however, also found that human-made sounds have the ability to negatively affect this natural mechanism. Much more still needs to be researched, though. Still, the results are very promising for many applications, and the study was published on the BioRxiv website, with the researchers adding that our results document for the first time that plants can rapidly respond to pollinator sounds in an ecologically relevant way.
Okay. So I think that's so cool. I think that's so cool. And this study here, the graph that I'm sharing here, is also related to the same study. And the study shows that the vibrations measured matched up to the B frequency. And when exposed to the sound of the flying bee or artificial sounds of a similar frequency, which is also shown here, the evening primroses swiftly produced sweeter nectar. I think that's awesome, that flowers may serve as a sound sensing organ, a sort of an external ear. So here you can see as the sugar concentration increases with the sounds of the bee and the similar frequency, grown indoors and outdoors. And here's another graph from the same study. The flowers displayed a mechanical vibration as a result of the bee sounds, acting as ears. Bee sounds not only increased the vibration of the flowers, but again, resulted in the higher sugar concentration in the nectar. Perhaps the resonant frequency of a flower could be determined by its size, shape, and density. So the ears of certain flowers could be larger. So I have another video I would like to share here.
Believe it or not, plants can scream. New research from Tel Aviv University has found that plants make noise when stressed. For the study, scientists focused on tomato and tobacco plants. They placed plants into 3 groups. These were drought-stressed plants, plants cut at the stem, and control plants. These were placed in an acoustic box for an hour. Each plant was recorded with 2 microphones placed 10 centimeters away. On average, drought-stressed tomato plants emitted roughly 35 ultrasonic sounds per hour, while tobacco plants produced 11 per hour. Cut tomato plants created roughly 25 sounds per hour, while tobacco plants generated 15. The study found that all control plants produced, on average, less than 1 sound per hour. The scientists explained in the study that these sounds could potentially be heard by other organisms up to several meters away. The tomato plants were also placed in a greenhouse setting to test whether or not sounds emitted by plants would be identified outdoors. The results matched researchers' findings from the plants in the acoustic box in that plants produce more sounds as they become dehydrated. Machine learning classifiers were able to distinguish distinct noises produced by the different plants in both the acoustic box and the greenhouse setting. Researchers suggested that in the future, farmers may be able to use this type of technology to listen out for drought-stressed crops to better assess their crops.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the
Okay, so as we saw here, the study showed that ultrasonic airborne sounds are emitted by drought-stressed tomato plants when under stress. Now, this graph here shows that the plants emitted airborne sounds also when they were cut. They used tobacco and tomato plants, but the highest number of sounds were emitted by a tomato that was suffering from drought. So these sounds could possibly be heard by nearby animals or insects, which then, says to me that humans may one day be able to hear these sounds by the technology that we're seeing today. And once again, these plants and crops may be able to be tended to better by those tending to them. The world here is full of plant sounds, and it's a world full of, as I said, it's a world full of plant sounds, and the information can be endless. We're just seeing today what we're able to pick up on with all of this technology, but there could be more. And I think it's amazing that there is now a way that we can start communicating with these plants and flowers and trees and farm crops too. So here we have Monica Gagliano. She is a plant physiologist at the University of Western Australia, and she's discovered that corn seedlings lean towards a 220 hertz per. And I'm going to play this just so you can hear what a 220 hertz per sounds like. So there you have that. The roots emit clicks of a similar tune. So if the roots are clicking, gotta wonder, are plants clicking their heels too? Monica also conducted a study where chili seedlings are found to quicken their growth when a sweet fennel plant is nearby, even with the fennel sealed off in a box that only transmits sound. Insects can pick up the fizzing sound of air bubbles emitted by trees and plants, often signifying stress, drought, or injury. And acoustic sensors can pick up the bursting air bubbles. So, okay, and here is a little bit more about this.
Tree falls in the woods. Can other trees hear it? Maybe. Trace here for D News. Scientists are doing hearing tests on plants. Plant psychologist Monica Gagliano of the University of Western Australia in Crawley says that plants can sense sound even without ears. There is evidence that certain plants respond to the buzzing of bees by releasing pollen, but if this is too crazy for you, then you just might want to turn off the internet right now. Plants can feel, they can smell, they can remember, and they can talk to each other. Where's your moral high ground now, vegetarians? This stuff freaks me out because there was a sci-fi movie that I saw when I was a kid called Day of the Triffids, and a meteor shower happens and everybody goes blind, but the plants can hear you and they go around and they kill everybody and they attack us. It's freaky, rent it. All those assertions are true, but plants don't feel, they don't smell, they don't hear, they don't remember, in the same way as animals. When plants suck water out of the ground, they sometimes suck in tiny little air bubbles, and as they push the bubbles up through their xylem tubes, the bubbles pop. The fizzy bubble sound goes at about 300 kilohertz, way above human hearing, but the sound is detectable by insects and some animals, so trees can definitely talk to their surroundings, but that's not all. Plants may not have ears, but they are constantly living in a world full of sound, and they're making their own fizzy, buzzy sound. More research shows that the roots of corn seedlings will pull toward a 220 hertz per, and that chili seedlings will grow faster if a fennel seedling is nearby, even if that fennel seedling is in a box that only transmits sound. Both of these show that the plants are listening to their environment. The chili plant is responding to the sound of the fennel plant. Talking to your plants can make a difference, even if you just make crazy sounds. It matters. The Mythbusters have shown that sound causes greater growth than silence, so plants are definitely listening to you, crazy people. Plants can also feel. Frank Taluski, a botanist at Michigan State University, says trees and plants respond to the caresses of the wind. If you stake a new tree too tightly, it won't grow as quickly or be as strong. And plants can definitely smell other plants. If you put two pieces of fruit in a paper bag, one that's really ripe and one that is, say, underripe, the underripe fruit will zip through the cycle to catch up to that ripe fruit. Daniel Chamovitz, author of What a Plant Knows, says what's happening is the fruit releases a pheromone, and then that pheromone is picked up by the other fruit. I'm guessing that this is a way that plants can be competitive, because, fruit is supposed to be a vessel to seed new plants. And if other seeds get the prime location, that's bad. So do you think your carrots and potatoes are angrily plotting revenge because you cut them up and put them into a stew? If so, you might be a little strange, but we like that. So why don't you tell us your opinions about plant senses in the comments. And thanks a lot for watching D News, everyone. I'm Trace. See ya. Tree fall.
Okay. So onward here. In 1962, Dr. T.G. Singh, who's head of the botany department at India's Annamalai University, he found that balsam plants grew at a rate that accelerated by 20% in height and 72% in biomass when exposed to music. He experimented with classical and raga is a type of Indian classical music, on the flute, the harmonium, and arena. And arena is also an Indian instrument. He repeated the experiment in a field of crops using a raga played through a gramophone and loudspeakers. And guess what? The size of the crops increased to 25 to 60% above the regional average. He also discovered that the seeds exposed to music and later germinated produced plants that were larger with more leaves. Wow. So far, we've discussed about plants responding to sound, but they also respond to actual music. And the benefits here of sound and music on plants and flowers here, they're pretty extensive. And we've got, right here, we've got increased yields, improved nutrition, faster growth, reduced pests, increased photosynthesis, improved uptake of minerals, a better absorption of carbon dioxide, reduced stress, enhanced immune systems, increased production of plant hormones and enzymes for cell division, and an overall improved quality of life. And yes, an improved quality of life for our growing garden friends. People might say that's a little woo-woo, but I believe in it. So, what kind is their favorite? And yes, they actually do have a favorite. Why wouldn't they? So it is shown that soft classical music with string instruments, ragas, and Vedic music seem to be favorites of plants, encouraging lush growth. Jazz music increased plant growth. Mid-range sound frequencies seem to have more of a calming effect on plants. However, too much bass and loud rock music causes more stress and a negative reaction in plants. In 1973, a researcher by the name of Dorothy Retalak observed deformed abnormal growth with smaller leaves when plants were exposed to loud rock music. The plants actually leaned away from the rock music sources. And what was seen is that the damage was like the damage associated with excessive water intake. And you know something that's really funny? The plants had a neutral reaction to country music. I just think that's really funny. So, be careful what your plant hears. You never know what could happen. Now, hopefully, most of you watching this will know what this reference is from. Feed me, Seymour, feed me. Okay. So it might not be so much the type of music that plants and flowers are reacting to, but the level of vibrations produced in the music. Plants and flowers seem to be sensitive to sound waves, as we are seeing. Continuous noise can kill them. They really need their rest. So higher frequency sounds can cause plants to vibrate at a higher rate, causing stress. Stressed plants produce more ethylene gas, and that can prohibit cell growth. So as we see here, soft classical music appears to be a favorite and less stressful. Also, plants and flowers may have more benefit from music and sound that's played intermittently through the day at different times. And here we have frequencies that influence the plant and flower growth. And what I have here is I am sharing the sounds of the various tones here. So this tone here, I couldn't hear it. Well, I can hear it a little bit better now, but it's a very low, so I don't know if everybody can hear it. But this tone here, that tone, is known to stimulate germination and root growth in plants. And here, 250 hertz. This promotes the elongation of plant stems and leaves. And here's 500. Might have to adjust your volumes. That's enough. That encourages overall plant growth and development. And here is 1,000 hertz. And that's enough of that. That stimulates plant photosynthesis and nutrient uptake. And here is 8,000 hertz. I think most people can hear that. I can. And 8,000 hertz enhances flowering and fruiting in certain plant species. So, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Sorry, guys. All right. There is a cultural community in Damanhur, Italy, that is dedicated to translating the electromagnetic impulses of plants into melodies. Through a MIDI, which is a musical instrument device interface, plants produce unique melodies that become the plant's biological signature sound. Teresa Helgeson, an energy worker, she stumbled across the technology in Damanhur in 2007. The device has small red alligator clips that connects to one of the plant's leaves. The ground cord is wedged in the soil at the plant's roots. Both cords connect to a biofeedback machine that is synced with a synthesizer. The plant's energy is translated into audible tones that are played through the speakers. So this machine gives plants a voice that we can hear. And here's a little bit more about that.
The way the music of the plants works is there is an alligator clip that is connected to a leaf, and it collects the electrical frequency of the plant. Then there is a grounding prod that goes into the soil, and that grounding prod picks up the electrical frequency of the root system. And between the two of them, it completes a frequency and collects the complete frequency of the plants. And then that frequency is sent into the music of the plants box, because the box is a biofeedback system. So that frequency goes into the biofeedback system, who then sends it to a built-in MIDI synthesizer and translates that frequency that it has collected from the plant into sound. And then the sound is sent back to the plant. So ultimately, in layman's terms, the simplest way to understand this is the music of the plant's equipment becomes a musical instrument, and the plant becomes the musician.
Okay, I love that. I would love to go to Damanhur sometime and just wander through that forest and hear that chorale. Vijay Nishant, a conservationist and tree health expert, has tried to continue where Jagadish Chandra Bose left off in the early 1900s. The Project Vruksha Foundation is Nishant's team, and they recorded the electromagnetic waves from plants also in the form of musical notes using a MIDI. Electrode patches were attached to the leaves to track the electromagnetic vibrations from the leaves, tree bark, and roots in order to translate them into audible sounds of frequencies that form musical notes. In essence, they recorded musical conversations of trees. And notes are different for different signals. A distressed tree will emit high-frequency sounds. And this foundation set a goal to record the sound of 100 trees. I believe they have already. So this is my favorite here. In 2012, and I think it might be my favorite because I'm from the Philadelphia area, but in 2012, Joe Patitucci and Alex Tyson arranged a forest of plants inside the Philadelphia Museum of Art. I've been there, creating the Data Garden Quartet. This botanical orchestra actually went on tour. Each plant was fitted with a small device that translated biofeedback into sonic data. It sat on a leaf like a little stethoscope, monitoring fluctuations of electrical conductivity. The data was fed into a program that turned the signals into controls for electronic instruments. Plants began to play music, which often changed based on the environment, the space they were in, the dispersion of light, breeze, but also also when a particular person entered or left a room. Wow, guys, plants seem to be responding to an energy beyond the scope of human understanding. In 2014, Patitucci teamed up with John Shapiro, and by 2016, they had invented the MIDI sprout. The MIDI sprout could plug directly into an iPhone. Well, this over here at the bottom is plantwave, and that is their latest device. The sensors sit on leaves, and it actually, you can use Bluetooth to connect this device to an iPhone, tablet, or laptop without any kind of instrument cable. So now we can hear the shifts that the plant goes through as it's responding to its environment. This is on the market for about $299. And I don't know about you, but I want one of these so I can listen to the sounds and the music of all the plants and the trees as I walk through the forest here. Patitucci admitted, and now here we go, that he was inspired by the psychobotany of the 1970s and the book, The Secret Life of Plants, that we talked about in the beginning of this presentation. Plantwave is allowing for an increased interaction between humans and plants. I just love that. And here is a little video that tells you a little bit more about plantwave.
You know how it feels to go on a hike or be surrounded by nature. You come out more relaxed, refreshed, and energized. Our vision is to deliver the feeling of being immersed in a forest through music. We call this experience plantwave. With plantwave, your phone becomes a way for you to connect to nature rather than feeling separate from it. Plantwave turns a plant's biorhythms into music. Just attach 2 sensors to a plant's leaves, and plantwave connects wirelessly to an iOS or Android device running our app. The app has instruments we've built for plants to play. Plantwave detects slight electrical variations in a plant. These variations are graphed as a wave, which we translate into pitch messages that play instruments designed by our team. Other characteristics of the wave are translated into messages that change the textural qualities of those sounds. The result is a continuous stream of pleasing music that gives you a sonic window into the secret life of plants. Over the last 7 years, we've received tremendous support from artists and musicians around the world after we brought to market MIDI Sprout, the world's first device that allowed creatives to make music with their plants. While that product was an amazing innovation, it was designed to be used with pro music equipment and required extra cabling. With plantwave, you'll be able to wirelessly connect from your plant to your phone, making it easier than ever to tune into nature's song. Our current users report feeling more relaxed, connected, and inspired after listening to plants. They're listening in their home, garden, in nature. They're using plant music to enhance meditation, relaxation, and even focus. We have preliminary designs and working prototypes of plantwave complete, but we need your help to bring it to the world. Your support of this Kickstarter will allow us to finish development, get necessary certifications, and begin manufacturing. We hope you'll join us on this journey of deepening our connection to the planet, using music as a tool to heighten our senses of the vibrations that connect us all.
Well, I really want one of those. So, in closing today, I want to say that some people might view all of this as a little woo-woo. And that's okay. There's still those out there who are skeptical about the idea of plant consciousness, but more scientists are beginning to reconsider that plants have a form of intelligence. And the ways that plants respond to their environment are more complex than once comprehended. I know I'm personally convinced. Why? Because I've always gotten a sense of peace from flowers, plants, and trees. I feel their energy. The energy and vibration they give us is unique, And many of us who are sensitive to energy can pick up on that. I mean, personally, I will go and I put my hands on a tree and I can physically feel the energy that that tree gives off. I've turned into a tree hugger. So the other thing that I wanted to share, because this is really part of who I am, and I actually, the way that I got the idea of what to do for this presentation, what inspired me is my love for roses. And if you see here, this is my signature as to who I am as an upcoming vocal sound healer. It depicts my Native American medicine, rose and ivy.
Stop sharing your screen.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. It depicts my Native American medicine, rose and ivy, and the music is my voice. And so that gave me an inspiration because I've always known that I'm connected. That we're all connected, not just me. We are all connected. We are all frequency and vibration. Everything on our planet and in our universe is connected. When examining this concept, it really drives home that we are all one. And if we are all one, perhaps we will all have a greater ability to communicate with the world around us in ways we have yet to fully understand, including singing along with our garden chorales. So I'm really happy that you have joined us here today to listen to this. And I'm going to encourage all of you to go out there. Go out there. The other thing I wanted to share is that I think there's other ways to listen to the plants and the trees. I think we can do that with our intuition. If we can sense the energy from them, who's to say that a vocal sound healer, as myself, I can do vocal scans on a person. Why not trying a vocal maybe trying a vocal scan on a tree? Would that work? I don't know, but it's worth a shot. And if we can connect intuitively with the flowers and the trees, maybe those of us who are channels, maybe we could channel spirit through our voice and communicate with those trees. Maybe we can even channel the tree through our voices and sing the song that the trees are singing. I don't know, David, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of shamans that do exactly that, right? Where they totally sing the song of the plant and you get its medicine from the actual song.
Okay, well, see, that's where my intuition's going, because I actually went, it's a beautiful place outside the Philadelphia area. It's called Longwood Gardens. I go there all the time. I'm a member. And I was walking. There was a meadow of like purple wildflowers. And I stopped and I thought, what are they saying? And inside myself, I heard there was like a choir of little children. And it was beautiful. And I had a friend with me and I said, this is what they're saying. This is what they're singing. And I sang it. And then I came across another tree and I thought, okay, I'm going to connect to this one too. What is this one saying? And they all have different voices. So I don't know. I think any of us could do that. I think any of us, we all have this gift of intuition. And if we all wake up to it and align with spirit, we can connect with so many things in our world that we never realized. Like I said in the very beginning, every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name.
I love it. I love it. Just a matter of being still enough to hear it.
Yeah.
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 Oh my God. You just know that the matrix of the way everything is interconnected is way more complex than we even have a clue. Right?
We have human minds, and our human minds, they're limited. Now, I think I think we can use more of our minds than we're actually using. But I always say that I'm a spirit having a human condition, not the other way around. So if we can align with our highest selves, I think we're capable of way more than we realize.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we actually got the Domenhor device and actually hooked it up at the school. And it was really interesting because the sun was up and it was coming through the window onto the ficus tree and it was going, and when the sun went down, it went, it's
Aww.
like a plant's life is all about the sun, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's like the biggest deal. And then we hooked up the device to the sound table and octavized the synthesizer down so it could vibrate the whole sound table. So we
Wow.
got vibrated by the ficus tree.
I love that. And I was watching, I can't remember where I was watching it, but I saw that somebody was doing like a test. So that they took one of the, I think it was plantwave. They hooked it up to a real plant and a fake plant. And there was no sound coming out of that fake plant.
Oh, that's cool. That's
So I
cool.
think we need to be kind. I think we need to sing to our plants. It teaches me because I got to tell you, I don't really have the greenest thumb. You would think I would, my connection with plants and flowers like that. But this is an awakening for me. I'm growing in my gifts and in my own consciousness. But I've always known, it's just something I've always known. As I said, even as a little girl, I just had that inner knowing that even though the tree outside my window can't move, it's feeling. It has feeling. We had to sadly remove a tree from our yard last year. It had died. And I cried when that tree had to come down
Oh,
because I loved that tree. That was a beautiful tree. And so I sat there and I cried and I grieved the loss of that tree as I would have grieved for the loss of anything else.
so I
So
looked up Plantwave and they're for sale. It's
they are.
plantwave.com. Yeah,
They are.
299. You can actually
Yeah.
buy it right now.
Yeah.
And
And I
also,
think I will.
I read that book by Cleve Baxter on the plants, and they actually found that when the plant was hooked up to the lie detector,
Uh-huh.
if someone thought about feeding or watering the plant on the other side of town, that plant would get a reaction.
Whoa. So
Yeah.
so there you go. It's like there's communication beyond time and space.
Quantum.
And that is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So
This
I
is
just got an email from somebody this morning that said, "Do you have frequencies that would help plants?" And so I've already been thinking and talked to some people. I know a company right now that has different light frequencies that will bring out different nutrients in the plant. So with a little bit of research, not only could we grow plants more, but we could make them have more specific nutrients to feed people with very
I
specific frequencies.
Yes. Yes. And this is why I think that this topic is so important because people just don't realize how we could start to help the plants and flowers with all of this. We can actually start really communicating to them. It's so cool. I mean, you talk about, if you've heard of horse whisperers and animal communicators. Well, we can communicate with gardens. We can communicate with these things because we're all one. And that's what people think we're so separate from each other. But we're not. We're not.
I have this Native American being that comes in sometimes, and he's so powerful and grounded and heart open. And one day I etherically said to him, "How did you get this way?" And he goes, "Living in nature, connected to nature all the time."
It's so grounding. For me, if I'm stressed out or if I'm anxious, again, I take myself to Longwood Gardens or I go to an arboretum or I hug a tree. And it's so calming. And when I really think about the time in my life where I felt that at oneness the most, or in the earliest days of my life, is when I would play outside as a child, and I would lay on the ground and I would look up at the sky and all the trees, and I would just breathe in that breeze, and even the smell of freshly cut grass, which that brings me back to childhood. But I would just feel so at one with my whole environment. And that's how it should be for all of us.
So everybody's homework is next time you go on a hike, listen and watch for the symphony that's going on.
Yes. And sing your own symphony because they're listening to you.
I love it. I love it. I love it, you know, because really it's just, we really got to get back to our connection to nature. I think, especially with the kids and everything. I mean, it's really the number one thing that's going to help the planet, I think.
And the planet's hurting. The planet is hurting. And our kids are hurting. I mean, you know what? Our kids have gotten so addicted to these things. And we need to get our kids back outside. You know, that's some of the most happiest memories of my life, being outside. Being outside. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
David, thank you for the opportunity to come today. It is truly an honor. Really. This was so much fun.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. Okay. See ya.
Bye.